सारे इंसान कम पड़ गए थे आपको कि आपने कुत्तों के लिए आइसक्रीम बनाना स्टार्ट कर दिया. A cat parent talks to me and says that I'm so happy that my cat is having a wholesome meal and I feel कि उसका पेट भरा है as a mom.
Vagizoon became India's first pet ice cream brand.
The pet parents pushed me to make it a business because a lot of time we start comparing that, oh, me in my 20s have reached here, but
What's the new vision you are building now?
and there are loads of people out there who want to help.
Premix. ये premix ही क्यों है?
They
Like,
would generally be like, अरे कुत्तों के लिए कौन आइसक्रीम बनाता है?
so
Why?
it's really important to be surrounded by good people for being an
Like
entrepreneur.
my college professor used to say, you're living, breathing entrepreneurship 24/7 because
Welcome to another episode of VisionX Podcast series presented by Entrepreneurship Cell of Shri Aurobindo College, Delhi University. I'm your host, Drishti Das, and today we have an incredibly special guest with us, Darshan Kaur Khalsa ma'am. She's the innovative co-founder of Pets of Paradise and the brilliant mind behind Vagizo, India's first pet ice cream brand. From solopreneuring to making waves at Shark Tank India, her journey is all about courage, imagination, and breaking stereotypes. Darshan ma'am, it's really amazing to have you here. If I missed anything important about you in the intro, please go ahead and share it.
no, you absolutely covered it all. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, just to start on a little lighter note, is there something interesting and unexpected about you that people usually don't know?
Now I think people know, but it is that I was very scared of dogs before I started with ice creams for dogs. And it was only my first puppy that came into my life, made the changes, and after which I fell in love. And so I'm a converted pet lover, and that's how the journey began.
Oh, that's so nice. And ma'am, after a long day, what's something that helps you relax or maybe reset?
So I generally have my routine, which one is when I spend time with my dogs. Two is I do my meditation, I do my sessions. I like to keep my diary where I keep writing about what happened in the day, helps me segregate as to the whole day's chaos that happened and what is it that I have to primarily pay attention to. Of course, I love music and I am a Kathak dancer, so I do sometimes take up riyaz as well.
That's really nice. Now, great. So that now that we have warmed up a little, let's dive into your journey. You begin your journey with handling content and community. What sparked the shift from that world into entrepreneurship?
I'm sorry, are you asking as to how did I take up the role of community and content?
Sorry, ma'am.
I said, are you asking me about how did I take up the role of community and content?
No, ma'am, you begin that your journey with that, but what makes the shift it to entrepreneurship?
No, it's the other way around. That's what I'm saying. In Waggy Zone, I have been an entrepreneur
Okay,
and
okay.
I manufactured the products. I have been into
Okay.
manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
It's only slowly did I realize that my strength lies with talking to people, getting the community together, putting up activities because I used to attend a lot of events for pets.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I used to promote doggy ice creams, the Waggy Zone. Slowly, I started meeting a lot of people, and I built up the Women Pet Entrepreneurs Group in Maharashtra. And that's how I realized that I am good with community and I can take up content because I like transferring the knowledge that I gain from one person to passing it on to the other. So that's how I realized that somewhere is my strength. That is people's conversations that I can have, people skills that you primarily require to run the community. And that's how now when I have transitioned from Waggy Zone to Pets of Paradise, I handle the content of the community part as one of the co-founders. We run the community with pet parents because I realized that it's not only about selling the product, but it's also about nurturing the pet parent on their journey with the pet. So that's how the transition took place.
Oh, ma'am, that's so insightful, ma'am. Ma'am, Wagizone became India's first pet ice cream brand. Of course, it was such a nice idea, like such a unique idea. What
Thank you.
inspired it originally, and how did people react when you first shared it with them?
That's quite an interesting because I had two sets of reactions. There were pet parents who were really, really, really happy that, oh, there's an ice cream for dogs. Arey wow, why don't you share it with us? And I primarily made it only for my pet, my dog Tyra. And it, the pet parents pushed me to make it a business. That's how it the journey took place. So yeah, that was one set of a reaction. But the other set of reactions who don't really know how much a dog means to humans, they would generally be like, "Arey kutto ke liye kaun ice cream banata hai? Why would you waste your time on making dogs?" I remember even attending an event in Delhi where we were selected as one of the startups of Maharashtra. And someone very senior came and told me कि अरे इंसान कम पड़ गए थे आपको कि आपने कुत्तों के लिए आइसक्रीम बनाना स्टार्ट कर दिया था. So I feel there's variation because they were not my target audience. The ones who don't have a dog or don't understand the love of a dog, they don't relate to as a pet parent what we feel. But the other side who have pets or who love, they just loved the idea and they were like, oh wow, you're thinking about dogs also. Was the reaction that I received from a couple of them. So got both reactions. How I started was, I mean, like I said, I was really, really, really scared of dogs. And to the extent that I used to miss my school bus because a dog used to be sleeping near there. So everyone in my school knows that she was very scared and they were very surprised to see me then sharing my bed with a dog or sharing the whole house with a dog. And everything around me revolves around dogs now. My first pup, that is Tyra, who made me a converted dog lover. I started attending a lot of pet events with her, and that's when I realized that there used to be only chicken, rice, and vanilla ice cream in the events. And I come from a background of manufacturing of ice creams, so that's my family business. So the first reaction was that, okay, why not my ice creams for my pup? And then I started talking around and asking people. Is when I realized from veterinarians that dogs are lactose intolerant and they are not allowed milk, and even sugar is not allowed because they are prone to diabetes, just like us. Table
Mhm.
sugar is not allowed to them. So that's how that whole thing started of me doing research and understanding what is okay for her, but which is sweet and can be given. So I started making ice creams, started making frozen yogurts, which is basically
Mhm.
yogurt, which is processed, and curd is something that is allowed to the dogs. And I used to add honey, which was organic honey, so that there's no sugar or sugar rush that can happen to them. So that's how the journey started. And then we transitioned from frozen to premixes because in India it was very difficult being. I mean, though it's a very fun thing when people are like, "Oh, you were the first person to make ice creams for dogs," but it has its own challenges, right? Because it doesn't have a known segment. There's no segment of ice cream, so which primarily means that a pet store doesn't have a freezer. Now, where is it going to store my product? How is the logistics going to take place? How am I going to transport the whole thing? So yes, there were like bunch of questions when you try raising or you want to now expand your business from just being knowing it in Bombay.
Mhm.
Though I did have clients like in Punjab, Delhi, and other places where they were willing to pay the transport cost, which would be about 2,000 rupees because I would have to send it by train in dry ice. Uh, just to expand from an economic scale purposes, um, I had to go to making pre-mix powders. And that's the transition that took place in the business where I started making pre-mix powders, which then a pet parent could just take it, add water, mix it,
Mhm.
freeze it.
Yeah. Oh, ma'am, that's so beautiful. You explained it so beautifully. Like the premix idea is so great.
Thank
Like
you.
जब मैंने आपका एपिसोड देखा था शार्क टाइम पे, the thing clicked in my mind is कि premix ये premix ही क्यों है? Like now you explained it so beautifully to me.
वो आइडिया एक्चुअली ऐसे आया था बिकॉज वेरी ऑनेस्टली आई एम वेरी लेजी आई डोंट रियली कुक अ लॉट और मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि चीजें प्रीमिक्स में अवेलेबल हो तो ज्यादा इजी हो जाती है दैट्स हाउ इट स्टार्टेड बिकॉज वन डे आई वाज जस्ट मेकिंग द सूप एंड इट जस्ट क्लिक टू मी कि अगर सूप प्रीमिक्स फॉर्म में हो सकता है जिसमें मैं सिर्फ गर्म पानी डाल रही हूँ एंड आई एम सर्विंग इट why can't the ice cream be available in a premix format and it would be easier also because if I'm adding water, I have so many other ways of then feeding it to my dog once the ice cream is made. Otherwise, there's a pre-mix cup बना हुआ है, आप खोल रहे हो, आप feed
Hmm.
करते हो. But the minute I add premix, and it did happen that way, that the minute I made it into premix, a lot of pet parents started sending videos to me because they were now, making ice cubes in different shapes for their pets. They were giving it with some other medicines that they had to give.
Yeah.
They were icing it up on the food that they had to give. So they started becoming more creative than I could probably possibly be, with the ice cream that they were while they were feeding the dog. So I just feel that the premix shift, though it happened because of logistics reason, but it opened up a whole creative side for pet parents. And also it launched during COVID. So the pet parents that point in time were looking at, collaborating or wanting to spend that happy time with their pets, wanting to bond with their pets. So then I realized that my business is not about selling ice cream. It's actually about selling that emotional bond that you create with your pet when you're making like when you're feeding it something.
Okay, ma'am. Moving ahead, ma'am, every entrepreneur has that moment. Oh no, what have I gotten myself into? Do you remember yours and how did you push through it?
Honestly, that happens every second day. But one of the biggest was after Shark Tank,
Mm-hmm.
when I was at my lowest actually when that Shark Tank got aired. जब Shark Tank का recording हुआ था, that point in time I was doing good enough and the recordings went, but it aired after I think about 6-7 months of the recording. I think I recorded it in August, September, and it came next year, February के आसपास. So in that span, almost a lot of things had changed by the time it got aired. I was almost on the verge of shutting Waggy Zone because I just felt that it's not reached to where it has to reach. And I wanted to be like the Baskin Robbins in the pet industry. That is how I had started off thinking, right? And then I just looked back and I'm like, I've not reached where I had to reach. But I didn't realize that, of course, I wasn't only building an ice cream, I was building a whole category, which takes up a lot more time than you are just building a product. Also, my consumers don't really tell me how they feel, right? It's the buyers, that is the pet parents, who tell me their version of the story. So, uh, understanding all of this, I was at my lowest and I thought I haven't done. I failed miserably and I was supposed to shut it down. What helped me go through was I spoke to a couple of friends in the industry, spoke to my peer founders where, I didn't know what to do because I was a solopreneur. And one of my current co-founders, and back then was my friend Hari, also I called him up and I was like, you know what, I think I just want to shut this up and I don't know what to do. So he just told me, chill, let's just talk, let's discuss, let's
Hmm.
figure out a way that, you can find a balance and not lose out on all the efforts that you put in the last 5 to 6 years. So I feel it's very important to talk it out. You speak to someone, and I've had two instances. Once when I made drastical wrong decisions with finances, and I sat down with another friend who sat down on an Excel sheet and tried explaining me. So why am I telling this? Because people feel that, oh, I'm an entrepreneur and I know everything about finance. That's not true. Every entrepreneur I feel has their skill set with a couple of things, and they do lack in a couple of things. So I'm
Yes.
not saying you have to be expert at everything, but I feel knowing everything is important, and at least having a bit of knowledge. And even if you do not know, there's no harm in asking from help. So right,
Yes.
so when I spoke to my friend and I was like, okay, this is what I feel has gone wrong, she sat down, she helped me with the finances, she made me take some decisions which I should have taken. So yeah, I feel like that was the first and the second time when I spoke to Hari. Both the times when I was at my lowest, I feel the only way I was out was when I spoke to a friend, spoke to someone who could relate, who could understand where in which position I am, and could help me way forward.
Okay, ma'am. It's great. Ma'am, as a woman entrepreneur, did you ever run into stereotypes or unexpected challenges?
Uh, I feel there is already,
Mm-hmm.
but
Okay.
I very strongly believe, be it a man or a woman, if you want to do something and if you want to build something, you will do it anyway. So
Hmm.
I feel you cut through it. The only thing I feel I need to tell women is that, you know, you don't have to change yourself. The mistakes I did was trying to one be like a man, because then I'm like, oh, people feel that only a man can be at an authority. So, and I've told this in a lot of my talks that we don't really. The reason why I started wearing a lot of saris also was because that was a very distinct way of me showing that, okay, I am at a at a powerful position. I am an entrepreneur, and you can't take me easily, right? That was my way of showing that I am a distinct person. But when it comes to the thing that me wanting to prove, trying to be heartless, wanting to take decisions, but I don't think that is our strength. Our strength is that we are nurturers. Our strength is that we care, and that is what makes our product, that is what makes our teams, that is what makes everything around us so uh, important. And I feel like we empower others to grow as well, so there's no harm in shying away from it, which I did initially a lot, where I was like, oh no. Also coming from a manufacturing unit, you grow seeing men, because
Hmm.
I've seen only men. You start enacting them. I mean, I worked with my father. I have seen other men in the manufacturing unit grow. So you kind of think that is how you have to be. That is how you have to have that dominating persona,
Yeah.
uh, which I feel does work to an extent, because
Hmm.
the laborers are also used to seeing you in that particular way. But as a woman, I feel if you have your own persona and you find your way
Yeah.
through it, then you very well can also get your work done. So there's no one way of being with it. That is the only thing I feel I would like to say the younger women, or the younger self of myself, where it's like you don't have to change. You don't have to
Hmm.
prove that you are brutal, you are heartless, you can make the right decisions, you know everything. No, it's okay. If you don't know something, you ask, you learn, you grow. That is what I feel a leader should be.
That's a powerful reply, ma'am.
Apart from that, I feel there are advantages of being a women entrepreneur, to be very honest. Currently, that I'm seeing, there are like so many schemes going on, there are so many
Mhm.
things
Yeah.
going on. So, like I said, and very strongly, I believe this because I used to run communities for women, and the the thing is that I would put my heart and soul in trying to get women out of wherever they are or whatever closet they are.
Hmm. Hmm.
Very later in my life, I realized that a lot of women don't want to come out of it, right? So
Yes.
it's not about a man or a woman. It is anybody who wants to come out of their situation, wants to do something, will find a way out. And there are loads of people out there who want to help you.
Yes.
Even if there's nobody to help, you will find some way of inspiration, right? When the time is right, or when you are determined to do something. So while I do know there's bias, and I do understand there are families where they don't openly allow, but I know women who have done things hiding from family. I've known women who've done it even if they didn't have financial help. I know women who've done it even if they're not educated. So yeah, at the end, I feel, where can you cross that limit? How can you find a way out? What is feasible to you in your circle is what you will have to find, and you'll always find a help if you want help. So uh,
Husband.
yeah, like I know there's disparity, but I still feel that it's one is women can help women, and the other thing is that you have to have that determination to come out of it.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, ma'am, moving to the next part, let's dive into your Shark Tank experience. Your Shark Tank pitch was a huge milestone, but what was the biggest lesson you walked away with from that experience?
I walked away with that experience that planning is very important.
Oh.
I was driving more on passion. I was driving more on हो जाएगा, that toxic positivity which people call, right? And it did
Mhm.
happen. I won't say it didn't happen. Beautiful things happened to me. I got merged with Pets of Paradise. Now I'm a co-founder of Pets of Paradise. Beautiful things happen, but somewhere down the line, as an entrepreneur, you have to sit down, sit with the Excel sheets. I know it's boring, but you sit, you see that what should be your limit, and also put a timeline. Okay, this is what I have to achieve in so much time. How do I do it? Find your ways. So all these things are really important than just following passion. Passion is important. You need to know what you love
Mhm.
and why you're doing it, but systems and planning is very important. Otherwise, you're just doing everyday routine work, and you can't see the future that's happening. So that was one, because I was in my own pond. But when I spoke to the sharks and when they gave me their perspective, which was a broader perspective, that was a
Mm-hmm.
bigger perspective from somebody who's putting in money is going to think about if this person can multiply it, right? So coming from that aspect, they did, it's a broader aspect to look at the same thing. You're zooming out and seeing. I was too zoomed in, too passionate, too much into the product to see that okay, this is the change that should have been made.
Okay, so my planning is very important for you.
Planning is important, and system.
Okay, ma'am. Was there any tough moment or challenging question from Shark that really tested you? And how did you handle it in the situation?
Um, I think there wasn't, I wouldn't say there were challenging questions, because they asked questions which were related to your business, which I feel as an entrepreneur, you by and large do know about. Uh, you you could get stuck in the way you're explaining, but I feel
Mhm.
the answers is something an entrepreneur, if he or she is running the business, would already know about their business. So it's not that it was difficult question, but I feel that that whole conversation where the pitch should have, I feel like the pitch could have been much better. And I feel there should have been a very clear communication that I am looking to manufacture ice creams in India and I want to export. The communication that went through to them was that I am planning to only expand in India, which of course is a very niche and a very smaller market. So which was not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be manufacturing in India and globally export the
Mhm.
product. So I feel the communication and my pitch, I feel could have been much better.
Okay, ma'am. After Shark Tank, your journey evolved from Waggy Zone to Pets of Paradise, right? What influenced that shift, and what's the new vision you are building now?
So like I mentioned, I was at my lowest and I thought I'm going to shut it down. Then
Mhm.
Hari and I met up at Pondicherry. Hari,
Mhm.
me, Bhavya, who's the third co-founder, we met initially, and we wanted to do something in the D2C space. And because three of us came from the pet space, we knew we all have pets. We just had to go to this space because I had been running this for last 5 6 years, and Hari is also one of biggest distributors in South with pet space only. So he also wanted to get into the same space, and so we all came together.
Mhm.
And we have Bhavya as well, who's an illustrator. So he basically is a visual artist, right? So any storytelling that can be done visually is what Bhavya would do for us in dogs and cats space. We also have
Mhm.
a fourth co-founder, Dipesh, who basically manages the e-com and the Q-commerce for us, where all the sales are managed. So the reason why four of us came together is one, we feel our primary product is dog food and cat food, which is what we
Mhm.
manufacture. But like I said, in the start, that I personally feel that a pet parenting and the way that Maka Pyar can be moved ahead to the child is via food. And we
Mhm.
very strongly, believe that a home cooked meal is something we've been very passionate about for our pets. And that's what we felt was missing in the market, wherein, you get the fresh food. Um, Also what we've tried to do is to explain you in a simpler format is that when you take a medicine, right, agar aap
Mhm.
vitamin C ki dawai le rahe ho, if you're taking vitamin C or vitamin D medication, then only 30% of that vitamin gets absorbed in your body, because it is in a nutraceutical format, right? It is a powder
Mhm.
format. It is not in a natural format, right? So आपका body उसको सिर्फ 30% absorb कर सकता है.
Okay.
But when you are having, say, eggshell, right? Eggshell powder, or when you're
Mhm.
having lemon, or when you're having avla, then the vitamin C and the vitamin D ka absorption can rise up to almost 75-80% in your body, right? Because आपका body is made in that way कि उसको ये natural state से ये सब चीजें absorb करती है. That is the difference between the ingredients, right? So this is what we are doing with our product right now, wherein we are trying to put in the ingredients like for vitamin D, eggshell powder, omega 3 and omega 6. We are putting the fish, which has these oils, which can help the cats and dogs to get these nutritional in the natural format, which is called bioavailable ingredients.
Mhm.
So that's exactly what we are doing. Why we are doing this is because when we cook at home, like especially even if I cook at home, what I do is I used to, even before this came up, ki the haldi is okay for dogs. As
Mhm.
Indians, we know that these spices, these herbs, are something which our mothers generally put into our food, and I used to generally do this. And Hari used to cook food for his dogs. So it's just that we knew that when we are cooking, we put our heart and soul. We want to put the best, and that's how we thought that why not make a recipe which can be better for absorption for almost all the dogs in the house. That's how this whole journey has been there.
Oh, that's so innovative, ma'am. Okay, so now moving ahead, you have handled so many roles, ma'am. Solopreneur, content work, co-founder. How do you keep yourself so grounded through all this?
Um, I think I still don't know anything. That's the only way of grounding. I feel I'm learning every day. And
Oh.
to be very honest, content, be it being a co-founder, be it being a pet parent, be it being a wife, or just a sister, whatever role you play, I
Mm-hmm.
just feel you can
Mm-hmm.
never know everything, right? You're
Yes,
constantly
yes.
learning, you're everyday learning. And that's, I feel, the only way where you can keep yourself humbled down by saying that there's a lot more to learn. So, yeah, I think the time just goes by and wanting to be better than what I was yesterday. That's about it.
So you believe in keep learning.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I feel the minute you feel you know everything. I think that's the case even with Meta recently, right? I feel
Mm-hmm.
everyone felt that they cracked Meta and they got the RUAs and everything was happening. And then suddenly Meta randomly came up with a new update, Andromeda, and then everybody's RUAs
Hmm.
got for a toss, and then you had to rework on the creatives, right? So I feel everything, even QCOM, when you're going to Blinkit, you're going to Amazon, every day they have something new that they come up with, right? So if you're not up to date, or if you're not learning, if you're not understanding what to do, I'm sure you're going to become dinosaur.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, you talked about the tough parts, right? But I'm curious about the opposite side. What's been the most rewarding part of building Pets of Paradise?
I think during Vaggie Zone, I used to say this a lot. I was
Mm-hmm.
at my lowest, and then it was very difficult to build that because nobody else was doing it. I didn't know whom to copy, what to see. You're building your own things path. I think the only thing that kept me going was the messages that pet parents used to send me, the videos of dogs eating and licking, and then the tail wagging and then jumping around when the cup of ice cream coming in front of them would be something which really kept me moving forward. I used to even get those letters from pet parents saying, "Thank you, ice cream auntie. We really loved it. Love, bow, bow, almond." Things like this is what I received. And it was really sweet to see how the community came forward to love you and give you that push to do something. In Pets of Paradise, also, I feel it's the same thing when at the end of the day, when a cat parent talks to me and says that I'm so happy that my cat is having a wholesome meal, and I feel कि उसका पेट भरा hai as a mother or as a pet father. I feel that emotion is what I connect with the most, and that is very satisfying to know that okay, at the end of the day, you're just passing on the love that you feel for your pets to the others.
That's lovely, ma'am. Okay, was there a moment when you thought, yes, this is why I do what I do? Any moment like this?
Yeah, actually, like I mentioned, when
Hmm.
there'll be these cute messages that come down, or
Hmm.
when the community runs, specifically, actually, when we recently had a case where, the cat was almost about to die in the community, and the whole community came together. They were not physically there, but that emotional support, asking the mother every day that how is the cat, how is the medication, do you need any help? We even did fundraising for them. So I feel that when I saw what I was trying to build for like 2 years, and suddenly I didn't have to be
Hmm.
involved, but the whole community came together to help her. They started making the creatives. They sent me, they told me, can we please share it on topics community handle? Can we circulate on WhatsApp? Can we do this? So it was just very overwhelming to see that the community is actually coming forward to do good stuff as well, to help each other when actually needed, you know. And a lot of them I know in the community are people whose family can't support them, or they don't really approve of them having a pet or taking care of street dogs and cats. But it's this community of 500 other people who are doing the same thing, and they just don't feel alone then. And they feel that, oh, there are others also who are supporting. Especially right now when there was this street dog case happening where I feel almost India got divided into two parts, right? Either pet lovers or pet
Yeah.
haters. And it just got so aggressive where our neighbors who used to be friends suddenly are like, oh, you have dogs, you're a bad person, right? So, you feel lonely, you feel alone, you don't know what to do. And then there's this community, there's a group of people who are emotionally, at least mentally there for you and being like, it's okay, you'll
Mhm.
pass through. So I feel that made me feel very happy about okay, these 2 years that we've put in effort, it's reaping.
Okay, ma'am. Any myth about entrepreneurship you wish more people understood?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I feel a lot of things feel glamorized for us. They think
Oh.
it's there's a lot of leeway in terms of whenever you want, you start, whenever you want, shut it out, but that's not the case. Being an entrepreneur, like my college professor used to say, you're living, breathing entrepreneurship 24/7, because that is the only way you're going to move it forward. There is no work-life balance if you think there is going to be. Uh, you the worlds merge and it no more feels work because you enjoy it, you're passionate about it,
Mhm.
and there's a zeal to do it. But at the end of the day, what others think of it to be a very glamorized space, no, it's not that glamorized. We do a lot more of groundwork, and we are the laborers actually. So yeah, I mean, that's one thing that I feel because of this Insta and LinkedIn, everybody feels only seeing the Gaga side of it, but that's not true. There's a lot more of pressure as well. There are times when it's really going down the hill, and you being the entrepreneur, people look up to you. Your team is looking up to you to give an answer, right? So there are hardly chances when you in front of others can be somebody who don't know what to do, right?
Yeah.
Having said that, I'm not saying you need to know everything.
Yeah.
There are right people whom you go and ask to, you go to consultants, you ask your friends and all, but your team does look up to you to give an answer, right? You can't just suddenly be like, I'm not going to give an answer. You can of course say that I don't know right now, but I'll come back to you. So yeah, it's that glamorizing of being an entrepreneur, and now every second person saying that, oh, even I feel I should be like a startup, have a founder. That's not how it works. There is a lot of things that you have to go through.
Okay, so it's really important to be surrounded by good people for being an entrepreneur.
I feel that's just anybody, even if you're
Yeah.
employed, just be surrounded by people who you resonate with. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
like they say, the 5 people that you interact with is what you're going to become at the end of the day. So consume content, but consume good content. Read, see good podcasts. Listen to things, and be clear. Do your research before you're getting into something. And once you've gotten into something, also keep learning, because what you have decided might not be the final thing, right? Like I started with ice creams, I realized India is not the space, it's too niche. I will have to broaden. I cannot do treats. Then now I've merged. I've got into dog food and cat food, which is a bigger, broader aspect. So there'll be constant change. Even in content, I feel initially we used to make, one kind of content. You needed a lot of decked up things. Now it's become more authentic. Now you just go shoot and put it up on edits. It's much easier. So I feel this constant change happening and learning is going to happen, which I've been saying since the start. That just keep learning, be ready to, fail, but fail faster so that you can learn, grow, do it again, and keep going. I think that's the spirit of entrepreneurship. There's nothing extravaganza about being an entrepreneur. It's just about taking that risk, and after every fail, crying. Of course, you cry that you failed, but then getting up, dusting
Mm-hmm.
up, asking help, moving forward. So, and I think the biggest thing of being an entrepreneur is that we become shameless. We
Yeah.
are okay with failing, we're okay with being laughed at, we're okay with things happening. You just keep moving on. So, yeah, I think that's really important.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, so looking ahead, what excites you most, both about for yourself and for Pets of Paradise?
We've been having cat food for now some time. Now we'll be launching our dog foods. I'm really excited about it because I have 4 dogs and I was waiting for the dog food to be launched. So the dog food is really, really, really exciting. And for myself, yeah, I feel even I'm excited for the dog food also because that was in plan since the start. But we started with cat food.
Mhm.
We'll be launching the dog food, which is the barking.
That's exciting to hear, ma'am. And we are really, but the ma'am, one more thing. What's the difference between like cat food and dog food? Like, what's the major difference?
The major difference between a cat food and a dog food is the cat is a obligate carnivore. Okay, so obligate
Mhm.
carnivore का मतलब ये होता है कि it needs only meat. It
Okay.
doesn't eat veggies and it doesn't eat fillers जैसा जो items आप डाल रहे हो, right?
Okay.
So food for cat is generally smaller in quantity but has more of only meat. It generally
Oh.
doesn't have fillers or won't have any I mean not it's not like it's harmful to them, but it's something that they don't consume, right? They've always been in the wild जहाँ पे they would eat just आप meat खा रहे हो. uh, Dogs के case में they do consume vegetables, they do consume
Hmm.
um, other stuff, so that is also added to their food. Rice या जैसे
Mm-hmm.
आप oats ये add होता है. उसके अलावा there are some other minerals, vitamins which are differently needed by the both, right? Because they both at the end of the day are different creatures. So it's as good as me saying कि मैं और a cow will eat the same food. That's not going to happen. Cow requires a certain amount of different food, and I need a certain amount of different food, even if we both are vegetarians. So similarly, a dog and a cat are different species, so they need species appropriate food, and which is why there is different food that is being made for both of them.
Okay. Ma'am, if your entrepreneurial journey were turned into a movie, would you name it?
जब we met.
Jab we met. Okay,
Yeah,
ma'am.
I always say that Raggy Zone is like Ayushman for me because I was very young, excited. हाँ, हम ये करेंगे, हम वो करेंगे, and then I made all mistakes in my life, and then I didn't know what to do, and I was lost. And then came Shahid Kapoor for me, which is Pets of Paradise, where I am way more balanced. I know what I have to do. I have my role dedicated, and I'm much happier. So, yeah, I resonate with Jab We Met as a movie.
That's so cool, ma'am. Jab we met. Okay. And finally, for anyone out there with a big dream, but with a little fear, what's the one piece of advice you would like to give them?
Just try it. Fail faster.
Okay.
You will
That's.
fail. That
Mhm.
is for sure. And when I say fail, I don't mean your company will be lost or something. Fail can be on a daily basis, right? You tried a content, you put it out on Instagram, it didn't work. There were only 3 views. That's a fail for you, maybe. But you have to understand that that fail is what is going to teach you how to
Hmm.
make the next hook, how to make the next video, how to make the next carousel. How can I get don't keep making that same mistake. So once you know that, okay, I tried it for 7 days, this is not working for me, do your analysis, sit with it again, start again. So when I say fail, I don't mean that, oh, everything is going to crumble down. Fail
Hmm.
is smaller setbacks, you can call it, or smaller things, mistakes that you make. And that when you keep correcting, you get better at it, right? So there is no theory that can help you. How much ever you study, by the time you don't come into execution, you will not realize the mistake that you're making. So, how much ever
That's
I
so
will tell you, oh, this is how the hook has to be. At
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, when I write my own hook, when I say it and when I see what my audience likes, it might not be what I am thinking in my head, right? So, uh, try, make your mistake, get up, do it again, and it's the only way forward. I mean, I love Kiran Shah of Go Zero, and he's built an amazing brand, and I just love the entire aura of him. But uh, everybody sees Go Zero right now. Nobody's seen the years of work he's done, or in the Apsara that he saw with his parents, and all those things that has made him who he is right now, right? So, which is what I said. Everybody sees the glamorous part. Nobody's seeing the
Hmm.
mistakes or the days when we didn't know what to do also. And that's how we've reached where we are. I
So
mean, you do
bouncing
it. The
back,
faster you do, the better you will know.
ma'am, bouncing back from failure is very important part of our entrepreneurial journey. And what's the one point in your life when you think कि do you ever feel कि बस हो गया, इससे ज़्यादा नहीं होगा, like एक ऐसा बैकलैश या फिर एक ऐसा फेलियर जो like very important, very उसके बाद ऐसा लगा for a few moments or for a few days आपको लगा हो कि no, like this is the end, ऐसा type moment.
Yeah, it happened when I was trying to shut Waggy's on, like I mentioned. I think it took me to recover. It took me about 6 months to recover from that. That Darshan, it wasn't a failure, and it was just a maneuver from the startups, or you're changing your path, and you're still doing the same thing, and it's not a failure, and it's not about you losing on to the words that you said that you would do. So it took me about what 6 7 months to recover, and to I mean, though I was working, smiling, laughing, everything, but internally I was not okay, and I was mentally not fine. I had to go to a therapist. I had to understand from her, uh, because you sometime, it had reached to a point where I failed in my eyes. How much ever anybody else was saying, like people were calling me for Shark Tank talks. People wanted me to come to places. People wanted me to be a speaker, and they just felt, oh my God, wow, Darshan has achieved something in her life. But for me, in my eyes, I was a failure, right? Even though my parents were also saying, oh, Darshan, you've done so well, and you're doing really good in your life. But for me, I did not. So uh, that gave me a very different perspective later on. And I feel like more people should know that you should seek help. And I did go to therapy. I did have friends, family, everyone helping me to come out of my own mindset that I am a failure. So it's not that anybody else told me. On the contrary, people were celebrating me. It was me who did not feel fit to it.
Okay, so bouncing back from failure and learning from failure is very important.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's you. The fact that we think we can't fail is where I feel it goes wrong. If you just put it into your head saying that I am bound to keep failing and that's how I'm going to learn, otherwise, how am I going to learn, right? So, I mean, even a child who's just learning to walk does fall a couple of times and then starts walking. So, it's
Yeah.
just nature and mandatory that you are going to learn.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and experiences with us today. It was truly inspiring to hear your insights, your journey, and I learned a lot from your journey. And I really appreciate your time, ma'am. Thank you.
Just one more thing. I feel like,
Yes, ma'am.
one thing that the young generation should realize is the fight or the thing that has been got to us, because what everybody has passed on to us. So today, as an entrepreneur, if I am standing, it is because there were people ahead of me who fought for this to happen, or have made things easier for me, or have given me that kind of bandwidth to do this, right? So I feel like that gratefulness and the thankfulness has to be there, and maybe what we are doing might help the next generation when they are coming up to be an entrepreneur. So I just feel being that gratitude is really important, because a lot of time we start comparing that, oh, me in my 20s have reached here, but they couldn't in their 30s. But you have to understand that their era was different, their situation was different, and your situation today is very different. So it's important that we are probably thankful to our senior entrepreneurs who paved the way for us to be an entrepreneur today. I'm not mentioning men or women, because I feel that it's time we just be entrepreneur.
Oh, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your insights and experiences with us. Your journey is truly inspiring, and I'm sure our listeners have gained valuable knowledge on entrepreneurship, content, and community building. And to our audience, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe for more engaging conversation with industry leaders and innovators. Till then, stay curious, stay entrepreneur, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.